Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we take the source material you provide, all those notes, articles, the research, and really dig into it.
Yeah, pull out the key stuff.
Exactly. We're here to help you get informed, fast, without feeling overwhelmed. Today, we're tackling a big one for English learners: pronunciation.
Oh, yeah. It comes up all the time. We hear so many questions, don't we?
We really do. Like, how do I sound more natural? Or am I stuck with this accent?
And the big one. Do I seriously need to shell out for a private teacher just for pronunciation?
Right. And the sources you shared for this deep dive, they have a pretty strong take on that last question.
They really do.
The core message, the really empowering thing from this material is basically, no, you absolutely don't need to hire someone just for pronunciation coaching.
That's the headline, yeah.
Yeah.
The source argues it's not about lacking a teacher. It's more often about lacking the right tools, maybe the best methods for you, and crucially, those consistent daily habits.
Habits, yes. That's where the power is, according to this material. Okay, so in this deep dive, we're going to use the material you sent as our guide. We'll start by figuring out what English pronunciation really involves. It's more than just sounds.
Definitely more.
Then we'll look at the common mistakes, the traps people fall into. After that, we'll unpack a whole set of practical techniques you can use yourself right away.
Self-guided stuff.
Yeah. And we'll finish by showing how to build a simple routine around these, plus some final insights from the source. It's like a full blueprint.
Sounds good.
Cool. Let's get into it. Let's unpack this material. First up, what is pronunciation, really?
Well, the sources point out straight away that lots of learners think too narrowly about it. They zoom in just on the individual sounds, the vowels, the consonants.
Like getting the sound right, or the difference between L and R.
Exactly. And look, those are important, no doubt. But they're only one piece of a much bigger puzzle.
Okay, so what else is in the puzzle?
Yeah.
Material mentions other key things.
Oh, yeah. Several crucial elements that really shape how English sounds and flows. First, there's stress.
Stress, like emphasizing a word?
Yes, but it's even more specific. It's about which part of a word or which word in a sentence gets made louder, often a bit longer, and maybe higher in pitch. It's not just random emphasis.
Okay, syllable stress within words and word stress within sentences. Got it.
Right, and tied very closely to that is intonation.
Intonation, that's the melody of the voice, the rise and fall.
Precisely. Think about how your voice goes up at the end of most questions in English, right?
Yeah.
Versus how it tends to fall at the end of a statement. That up and down movement, that's intonation. It carries a ton of meaning, emotion too.
Okay. Stress, intonation, what else?
Then there's rhythm, the sort of underlying beat or pulse of the language. English was called stress-timed language.
Stress-timed, what does that mean exactly?
It means the timing feels like it's based more on the stressed syllables. They come at roughly regular intervals, and the unstressed syllables get squeezed in between. It gives English a kind of bounce compared to languages where every syllable gets roughly equal time.
Interesting. So it's not just syllable after syllable at the same pace.
Not at all. And the last one, which the sources say often surprises learners, is linking.
Linking, like connecting words together.
Exactly. It's how words naturally flow and kind of blur into each other in connected speech. The source uses that classic example. What do you want to do?
Right. If you say every word separately, what do you want to do? It sounds really stiff.
Super unnatural, like a robot, yeah.
Yeah.
Native speakers almost never talk like that in casual conversation.
So how does it sound?
Well, usually smushes together. More like, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
See how the T and what might blend with do, and you become do you want, and to become wanna.
What do you want to do? Yeah, I hear that.
That joining up, that's linking and reductions. And it's absolutely vital for sounding fluent and natural.
Okay, so pronunciation is sounds plus stress, intonation, rhythm, and linking. It's a package deal.
It really is. And the sources are quite clear on the goal here. It's not necessarily about completely erasing your accent or sounding perfectly American or British.
That's a relief for many, I bet.
Right. The real aim, according to this material, is achieving clarity, first and foremost, speaking with confidence, and sounding natural enough so people understand you easily without straining.
Clarity, confidence, naturalness.
Okay.
That makes sense.
It's a much more achievable and practical goal for most learners.
All right. So if that's the big picture of pronunciation, where do people typically mess up? The sources highlight some common mistakes, right?
They do. They pinpoint 3 really big pitfalls that learners often stumble into.
Okay, let's break these down. What's mistake number one? The material warns about something that sounds a bit odd at first, trying to speak too fast.
Yeah, it seems counterintuitive if you're aiming for fluency, right? But you see it all the time. Learners think fluent means fast.
Like speed is the main goal.
Exactly. But the source really hammers this point home. Clarity must come first. If you try to talk fast while you're still making mistakes with sounds or stress, or you're not linking properly...
You're just speaking fast and making mistakes.
Precisely. You end up being harder to understand, not easier. And you're basically practicing your errors, making them habits.
So slow down, get it right, then speed up.
That's the message. Nail the clarity, then gradually increase the pace. Okay, second big mistake.
Let's hear it.
This one ties back to those individual sounds we mentioned earlier. It's translating sounds directly from your native language into English.
Assuming a sound is the same when it isn't.
Exactly that. English has sounds that just don't exist in many other languages. Or sometimes there's a sound that's really close to one in your language, but there's a small, crucial difference.
And learners just swap in the sound they know from their own language.
Often subconsciously, yeah. They might not even be aware they're doing it. They hear the English sound, map it to the closest one they already produce, and use that instead.
And that causes problems.
It definitely can. The source uses that classic, very clear example. The difference between ship and sheep.
The short toe versus the long isis, the tiny vowel difference.
Tiny but critical. If you say, I saw a big sheep in the harbor, when you meant ship, well...
You get a very different mental image and confusion.
Exactly. It shows how even a small sound substitution can completely change the meaning. So learning to make those distinct English sounds, even the ones that feel awkward or similar to your native ones, is really important for clear communication.
Okay. So mistake one, rushing speed over clarity. Mistake two, substituting native language sounds. What's the third big pitfall according to the material?
This one, the source suggests, might be the most fundamental issue for many learners. It's simply never or very rarely actively listening to themselves speaking English.
Really? Just not listening back?
Yeah. The argument is that many learners don't regularly record their own voice, or if they do, they don't spend focused time listening critically to that recording.
So they don't really know what they sound like to other people?
Pretty much. They might think they're saying a word correctly, or they might feel like their rhythm is okay. But without that objective feedback of hearing themselves, they can't accurately pinpoint where the differences are between their speech and, say, a native speaker's speech.
You can't fix what you can't hear.
That's it, exactly. The source frames self-awareness as the absolute foundation for improvement. You got to hear the gap before you can start closing it.
That makes a lot of sense. So the big three mistakes: rushing speed, substituting sounds, and lacking self-awareness from not listening. Okay, so how do we fix these things without a teacher? The source offers practical techniques, right?
Yes, lots of them. Real hands-on stuff you can do yourself.
Let's start with one they call the mirror and mic technique. What's that about?
Okay, this one is described as a pretty simple daily exercise. Takes about 10 minutes, the source suggests, and its main goal is building that self-awareness we just talked about, using both sight and sound.
10 minutes a day, visual and auditory feedback. How does it work?
It's 2 steps. Step 1, the mirror. You literally stand in front of a mirror.
Okay.
And you say a sentence out loud in English. While you're saying it, you watch your mouth very closely. How are your lips moving, your jaw? Can you see your tongue? The idea is to become aware of the physical movements.
And the source suggests maybe trying to copy mouth shapes you've seen native speakers use.
Exactly. You try to visually match what you know native speakers do for certain sounds. Now, the source does say this feels super weird at first.
I can imagine. Stare at your own mouth talking.
Right. It feels awkward, maybe a bit silly. But they argue it's effective because you're getting visual data you normally completely ignore.
Okay, so that's the mirror part. What's step 2, the mic?
Right after you've watched yourself say the sentence in the mirror, you immediately record yourself saying that exact same sentence. Use your phone, whatever.
Okay, seen it, now record it, and then?
Then goes the crucial part. Comparison. You play back your recording, and you compare it side by side with a recording of a native speaker saying the same sentence.
Okay. Listening for the differences.
Yes. Critically, where does your version sound different? Is a vowel off? Is the stress wrong? Did you miss a sound? You note those differences. And then you try saying the sentence again, maybe a few times, using both the mirror feedback, what you saw, and the mic feedback, what you heard, to try to get closer to the native speaker model.
So it's this cycle. Watch, record, compare, adjust, repeat.
Exactly, using your eyes and ears together to build that awareness and make adjustments. It's simple, but really forces you to confront how you actually sound and move when you speak English.
Cool. Powerful technique. What's next? The sources talk about shadowing quite a bit, calling it maybe the most effective method.
Yeah, they really emphasize shadowing. They call it your best tool, and even a vocal gym for English.
A vocal gym? I like that. Why is it so highly rated?
Because it actively trains your mouth muscles and your ear at the same time.
Yeah.
It forces you to engage with the rhythm, the intonation, the linking, all those elements beyond just individual sounds in a very dynamic way.
Okay, so how does this vocal gym work out? How does it actually work? What are the steps?
It's pretty structured. First, you need a short audio clip. The source says start really short, like 10 to 30 seconds max.
Okay, just a small chunk. From where?
Anywhere, really. A bit of dialogue from a movie or TV show, a clip from a podcast like this one, maybe a sentence or two from a YouTube video. The key is that it should be clear, natural speech.
Got it. Short, clear, natural audio. Then what?
Then you listen to that short clip, maybe 2 or 3 times, just listen carefully. But here's the key for those first listens. Don't stress too much about understanding every single word.
Okay. Focus on what then?
Focus on the music of it. The rhythm, where the main stresses fall, the rise and fall of the voice, the intonation patterns. Try to catch the emotion, the pauses. Get a feel for the overall flow.
Listening for the melody and beat, not just the lyrics, so to speak.
That's a great way to put it. Exactly.
Wow.
Once you've done that a couple of times, you play the clip again. But this time, as soon as the speaker starts, you start speaking too, trying to talk right along with them, or just a fraction of a second behind, like an echo.
Okay. So I'm trying to copy everything in real time. Speed, rhythm, stress, sounds, linking, pauses, even the tone of voice.
Yes, that's the shadowing part.
Yeah.
You're mirroring them with your voice immediately. You do this active echoing maybe 3 to 5 times for that same short clip. Don't worry about perfection, especially at first. It's the act of trying to imitate that's the workout.
Okay. Echo 3 to 5 times. And then, is there a feedback step, like with the mirror and mic?
Absolutely essential. The final step is record yourself doing the shadowing.
Whoa, record myself trying to talk over someone else? That sounds like it would be even more awkward.
It might feel really weird, yeah. But the source insists this is where the real learning happens. You listen back to your shadowed version and compare it directly to the original clip.
And I'll hear where I'm not quite matching up.
Exactly. You'll hear, oh, my rhythm was too flat there, or oops, I didn't link those words like they did, or my intonation went down when theirs went up. That comparison tells you exactly what to work on next time you practice that clip, or when you listen for those features in other speech.
Wow. Okay, I can see how that would rapidly train both your listening skills and your mouth's ability to actually produce more natural sounding English. It's intense, but sounds very effective.
It really is. It helps you internalize those natural patterns almost physically.
All right, what's the next tool in the kit? The source mentions something about a sound chart cheat code using the IPA.
Yes, the International Phonetic Alphabet, or IPA. This ties directly back to that second mistake we talked about, substituting sounds from your native language.
Because English has sounds that might be totally new to me.
Precisely. English has, over 44 distinct sounds, phonemes? And it's almost guaranteed that some of those won't exist in your first language, or they'll be pronounced slightly differently in a way that matters.
Like the ship-sheep thing again.
Exactly like that. Or sounds that just feel really alien. The IPA is presented as a kind of cheat code because it gives you a specific symbol for every single one of those sounds.
I've seen those charts with all the weird symbols. Looks a bit daunting.
It can look intimidating for sure, but the source frames it as incredibly valuable. Think of it like a universal map for sounds. It helps you pinpoint exactly what sound a word is supposed to have, especially for those tricky ones.
So instead of just guessing based on spelling, which is notoriously unreliable in English,
Oh, totally unreliable.
or using the closest sound I already know, the IPA symbol tells me the precise target sound.
Exactly. It helps you identify sounds that are missing from your language, sounds that are similar but different, or sounds you just consistently struggle with. The source highlights common examples where IPA is super helpful.
Like which ones?
Those infamous TH sounds the unvoiced one in think and the voiced one in this. Many learners substitute T, D, or F for these.
Guilty as charged sometimes.
It's common. Also, the English R sound, it's usually not rolled or tapped like in many languages. And again, those critical vowel differences like short I versus long E, ship, sheep, or the vowels in cat, cut, cut. The IPA gives each one a unique symbol and description, letting you isolate it and practice just that sound.
Okay, so it helps you diagnose and target specific sound problems. Does the source suggest how to actually use the ITA effectively? Any resources?
Yes, they do mention a few practical resources.
Yeah.
One is youglish.com.
Youglish, how does that work?
You type in an English word, and it searches YouTube for videos where native speakers use that word in context. It shows you the video clip, highlights the word, and often shows the IPA transcription too. It's great for hearing the sound in real speech and seeing how mouths move.
Oh, that sounds useful. Seeing it used naturally.
Very. They also mention Sounds of English by Rachel's English. She has tons of videos breaking down individual sounds with detailed explanations and visuals.
Rachel's English is very popular, yeah.
And they point to the ELSA Speak app. It's an app that uses AI to listen to you speak and gives you feedback on your pronunciation, often down to the level of individual sounds within words, telling you which specific phoneme you mispronounced.
So you get that specific feedback without needing a human teacher listening constantly.
Exactly. These tools help bring the IPA chart to life and make it a practical tool for self-correction.
Okay, that makes the IPA seem much more approachable. What's the next technique the source covers? Something about word and sentence stress being musical?
Yeah, musical. That connects back to what we said about English being a stress-timed language. The rhythm comes largely from the stressed syllables.
Right, the beat.
So the source explains that within words, there's usually one main stressed syllable. It gets more emphasis.
Yeah.
Louder, longer, higher pitch. Think important, not important.
Okay.
And then in sentences, certain words carry the main meaning and get stressed, while others, usually grammar words like the to, get reduced and are less prominent.
Like hitting the important words harder.
Kind of like that, yeah. They give examples like, I want to go to the store. The key information is want and store, so they get stressed.
I want to go to the store. Yeah, I hear it.
Or, she was late for the meeting. Stress on late and the first part of meeting.
Okay. And the source says getting the stress right is crucial for meaning, not just sounding good. They had that amazing example.
Ah, yes. The I didn't say she stole the money example. This really shows the power of sentence stress. It's fantastic.
Remind me how that works again. The same words, different stress, totally different meaning.
Exactly. So the base sentence is, I didn't say she stole the money. Now listen, just by shifting the main stress. Stress. I didn't say she stole the money, meaning someone else said it, not me.
Okay.
Stress didn't. I didn't say she stole the money, meaning I definitely did not say it, denying it strongly.
Right.
Stress, say, I didn't say she stole the money, meaning maybe I implied it or wrote it, but I didn't say it aloud. Stress, she. I didn't say she stole the money, meaning I said someone stole it, but not her specifically. Stress, stole. I didn't say she stole the money, meaning maybe she borrowed it or lost it, but I didn't use the word stole.
Okay.
Stress, money. I didn't say she stole the money, meaning she stole something else, maybe the jewels, not the money.
Wow. That is genuinely incredible. One sentence, 6 different primary meanings just based on where you put the emphasis.
Isn't it? It perfectly illustrates why sentence stress isn't just decoration. It's fundamental to conveying your intended message clearly. If you stress the wrong word, you might accidentally say something you don't mean.
So how do you practice this? Just listen for it.
That's the main suggestion from the source. Actively listen for stress patterns when you hear English, in songs, like you said, but also in movie dialogue, podcasts, audiobooks. Pay attention. Which words pop out? Which syllables are emphasized? Why? Try to mimic those patterns.
It connects back to shadowing again, really.
It all links together. Stress, rhythm, intonation, they're all intertwined.
Okay. Now, what about that other element, linking and reductions? We touched on what I want to do. Does the source give more examples or advice on that?
Yes. They elaborate on it. They stress that this is just how native speakers normally talk in flowing, connected speech.
Yeah.
Words don't exist in little boxes. They influence each other at the boundaries.
And sounds get reduced or changed?
Often, yes. Especially common function words. The sources list several very common examples you hear constantly. Want to very often becomes wanna.
Yep.
Going to for future plans usually becomes gonna. Did you frequently sounds like digja or even dija.
Did you eat yet?
Exactly. Let me often reduces to let me.
Let me see. Okay.
These aren't slang necessarily or mistakes. The source emphasizes they are standard features of informal spoken English.
Right. Trying not to use them can actually sound unnatural.
It really can. If you pronounce every single word perfectly distinctly, like I am going to go to the store, it sounds very careful, maybe even robotic, not fluent.
So the advice is to learn to hear these connections and reductions.
Train your ear first, definitely. Notice when speakers use wanna, gonna, dija. Notice how the end of one word connects smoothly to the beginning of the next.
And then try to use them yourself.
Gradually, yeah. Start incorporating them where they feel natural. It's key to sounding smoother and more fluent. That "what do you want to do tonight?" really sounding like "what do I want to do tonight?" is a perfect example of multiple links and reductions happening together.
Okay. It requires listening differently, listening for the flow between words, not just the words themselves.
Exactly.
And you mentioned songs are good for practicing stress. The source specifically recommends using songs and lyrics as a technique too, right?
Oh, absolutely. They position songs as fun pronunciation trainers, a way to practice that's maybe less like work and more enjoyable.
Makes sense. How do they suggest using songs for pronunciation practice? Is it just singing along?
It's a bit more structured than just casually singing along. The recommended method is, first, pick a song, ideally one that's not too fast, with vocals that are clear and easy to understand.
Okay, slow and clear.
Then listen to it a few times just to get the feel, the rhythm, the melody. Enjoy it. After that, find the lyrics. Read the lyrics while you listen to the song again. Follow along.
Okay, listening and reading.
And then comes the active part. Sing along. But don't just sing the words. Try to imitate everything the singer's doing with their voice.
Like shadowing, but singing.
Pretty much. You're trying to copy their pronunciation of individual sounds, how they stress certain words or syllables, how they link words together smoothly when they sing, their rhythm, even their tone and emotion if you can.
That sounds like a really comprehensive workout, actually, hitting all the points.
It is. You're actively mimicking a native model in a repetitive musical context. The Solves even suggests some artists to start with, ones known for clear singing or interesting vocal qualities.
Oh, yeah. Who do they recommend?
They list Ed Sheeran, Adele, Coldplay, Sam Smith singers, generally known for pretty clear diction.
Good choices.
And interestingly, they also mentioned Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish. Her style is quite different, often very quiet.
Exactly. They suggest her style is actually good practice for mastering those softer, more breathy or whispery tones that are also part of English speech dynamics.
Huh. Never thought of it that way. That's clever. And the source mentioned a side benefit, too.
Yeah, a nice little bonus. They point out that learning vocabulary and phrases through songs often makes them stick in your memory much better than just reading them in a list. The melody and rhythm help anchor the words.
Music helps memory. Makes sense. It's a win-win.
Definitely. Good for pronunciation, good for vocab.
Okay, wow. We've covered a ton of ground here. Understanding pronunciation fully, the big mistakes to avoid, and then these really practical techniques. Mirror and mic, shadowing, using the IPA and resources like Uglish, focusing on stress and linking, using songs. That's a serious toolkit for self-study.
It really is. A lot of actionable stuff.
So with all these tools, how does the source suggest putting it all together? Because just knowing the techniques isn't enough, right? You need practice. They recommend building a routine.
Yes, absolutely. Consistency is hammered home as the key. It's not about doing hours one day and then nothing for a week. It's about regular focused practice, and they provide a sample weekly plan to make it manageable.
Okay, a concrete plan. What does it look like?
It's designed to distribute the different techniques across the week, mostly in short bursts. Monday, maybe 15 minutes of shadowing. Pick a short podcast clip or a YouTube video.
Okay, 15 months shadowing.
Tuesday, just 10 minutes focusing on tricky words. Maybe pick 5 to 7 words you know you struggle with or ones you mispronounced recently. Practice saying them, and importantly, record yourself.
10 mins on problem words with recording. Got it.
Wednesday, a 15-minute song pronunciation session. Pick a song, use that imitation method we discussed.
Fun Wednesday.
Exactly. Thursday, 10 minutes of IPA sound practice. Maybe focus on 2 or 3 sounds you find hard. Use Uglish or Rachel's English or an app like LSAC Speak to practice just those sounds.
Targeted sound work. Okay.
Friday, another 15 minutes of shadowing, but maybe mix it up. Try shadowing a scene from a movie or TV show to get more dialogue rhythm and character voice practice.
Good variation.
Saturday. This is really important. Dedicate maybe 20 minutes to reviewing the recordings you made during the week. Your tricky words from Tuesday, maybe some of your shadowing attempts. Listen back critically. What improved? What still needs work?
The feedback loop. Essential.
Crucial. And Sunday. The source suggests either rest or, if you're feeling keen, maybe repeat your favorite activity from the week or do a bit more review. Optional.
That sounds like a really balanced schedule. It covers different skills, uses different methods, includes review, and it's all in manageable chunks, mostly 10-15 minutes a day, plus a bit more for review.
Exactly. Very achievable for most people, even with busy lives. It's about that consistent, focused effort.
And the source makes a pretty bold promise about following a routine like this, right?
They do. It's quite motivating. They basically say, if you stick to a consistent plan like this, even for just 4 weeks, 1 month, you will hear a noticeable difference in your own pronunciation.
4 weeks to hear a change. Wow. That makes it feel really worthwhile knowing you could see results that quickly.
It provides a tangible short-term goal, which is hugely encouraging.
Definitely. And this idea of consistency and self-reliance, it seems to lead into the final thoughts from the source material.
It does. They really circle back to that core message we started with. You don't necessarily need that paid teacher for pronunciation. You can be the coach.
Taking ownership.
Precisely. So boiling down everything we've discussed from the source, what you really need is, 1, consistent daily practice. Even those short 10-15-minute sessions add up significantly over time.
Okay. Consistency.
2, tools that give you objective feedback. Recording your voice is non-negotiable according to this material. Using apps or sites that analyze your speech can also be really helpful.
Feedback tools. Got it.
3, patience and courage. Patience because pronunciation improvement takes time, it's gradual. And courage because, listening to yourself, practicing sounds aloud, maybe sounding silly at first, it takes a bit of bravery.
True. Gotta be willing to sound weird to get better.
You do. And maybe the most important thing, 4, a genuine belief that you can improve. You have to trust the process and believe it's possible for you.
That mindset piece is huge, isn't it? Especially if you've been feeling stuck.
It really is. And the source offers this one really simple but powerful line to kind of encapsulate the whole journey. If you can hear it, you can say it.
If you can hear it, you can say it. I like that. It puts the power in listening.
It connects perception and production directly. It implies that developing your ear, your ability to truly hear the sounds, the rhythm, the stress, the linking, is the essential first step to being able to produce them accurately yourself.
So the final action steps boil down to?
Train your ears relentlessly. Listen actively. Listen critically. Record your voice consistently. Don't shy away from it. And repeat, practice, imitate until the new patterns start to feel natural, automatic.
Train, record, repeat.
That's the loop. And the ultimate aspiration that our source paints. It's that maybe one day, after all this dedicated self-work, someone might genuinely ask you, wow, are you a native speaker?
Wouldn't that be something? From feeling unsure about your accent to potentially being mistaken for a native speaker, all through these kinds of self-directed methods, that's a really empowering possibility laid out in this material.
It really underscores the potential of focused, independent learning.
We've covered so much. What pronunciation really is, the common pitfalls, those great techniques, mirror and mic, shadowing IPA stress, linking songs, and that clear weekly routine. It feels like a complete roadmap.
It provides a very actionable blueprint, for anyone who's serious about improving their English pronunciation on their own terms.
It really does. So for everyone listening, you now have this blueprint. You've got the methods, the routine, drawn directly from the source material we explored today. The goal is clarity, confidence, sounding natural, and remember that powerful idea. If you can hear it, you can say it.
Good one to remember.
So maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. Building on that idea, what specific sound or rhythm or maybe linking pattern are you going to start really listening for today? What's the first thing you'll tune your ear into?
A great question to kickstart your practice.
Well, thank you so much for sticking with us through this really deep dive into pronunciation. We hope you found these insights from the source material genuinely useful and empowering.
Hope it helps.